My name is Will Reese. I'm 17 years old. I go to Southview High School and I like to run. And for the video presentation in the Introduction to Literature class, I chose to make my presentation on Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Now, this book is one of my favorites, and it has been one of my favorites for a very long time. The author is J.K. Rowling, or Rowling, not really sure how to pronounce it. But she is actually quite controversial right now, so I'm not going to get into her history, but she has written some very good books. Among those is the entire Harry Potter series, which I've read all of the books and I enjoy all of them. But of course, my personal favorite is The Prisoner of Azkaban, the third book in the series, and that is the one that I have chosen to make this presentation on. This book is considered a fantasy fiction novel, which is because it's based off of magic, and magic is not real, so it's fantasy. Nice! The main themes of the book include friendship, trust, and family. I chose these because it seems that everywhere Harry goes, he runs into his friends who are always backing him, he runs into people telling him about his family, and he runs into a lot of people who he's told not to trust, but he has to trust in order to succeed. The main ideas that this book focuses on are, of course, magic, because the whole story is built around people being magic and using those skills to do things. Another main idea that this story focuses on is time travel. Harry and Hermione were able to utilize time travel to save the day, and that was pretty inspirational. The last main idea that this story focuses around is finding one's history. Because it seemed like everywhere Harry went, he was just trying to find out more and more about his parents and his own past. So this book is actually very difficult to summarize because so much happened. So I'm going to make it very brief. It's probably not going to make a lot of sense, but I will try my best. So it starts out with Harry, Hermione, and Ron. Harry is the main character. His parents died in the first book, but I mean, yeah, if you don't know that, it's gonna make no sense from here on out. So Harry and his friends are on this bus, and they see these Dementor thingies, and it turns out these Dementor thingies made Harry faint because they were searching for this dude named Sirius Black. Now, Sirius Black supposedly helped kill Harry's parents. Everybody's saying, oh no, Harry's gonna die. So now, Harry and his friends are at this place called Hogwarts. It's where they teach children how to become wizards. And they just go through their everyday life. They have this rival named Draco Malfoy, and they get in a lot of fights and things. Then there's this teacher named Remus Lupin, who tries to help Harry counter Dementors. And then Harry's kind of like friend teacher named Hagrid. He has this creature called Buckbeak, and Buckbeak lashes out and attacks Malfoy after Malfoy was like talking trash to it. I don't know why he would do that, because Buckbeak was huge. And then Buckbeak gets put down. So then it turns out Mr. Lupin, or Professor Lupin, is a werewolf out of nowhere. And Sirius Black and Lupin were working together, and they got Peter Pettigrew, and it turns out Peter Pettigrew was this man Ron's mouse this whole time. Which was crazy, alright? And then they tried to kill Peter Pettigrew, but he escaped, and then turns out Sirius Black was innocent. Then Harry and Hermione had to go back in time, and they saved Buckbeak, and they saved Sirius. And that probably made no sense, but I really tried my best. There are two main characters that I think deserve to be talked about just because their characterization was done so well, and that is Sirius Black and Albus Dumbledore. Now, for Sirius Black, I think that the fact that his contradiction between this super scary guy into when Harry talked to him, turns out that was Harry's godfather, and he was actually protecting Harry's parents. That was just such a wholesome moment, kind of, and it was a beautiful thing because he even offered to adopt Harry. So I'm just going to read this passage describing Sirius Black, the crazy murderer guy who now is like best friends with Harry Potter. Black, still at large. Sirius Black, possibly the most infamous prisoner ever to be held in Azkaban Fortress, is still eluding capture. The Ministry of Magic confirmed today. The next character I want to talk about is Albus Dumbledore, just because of how genius he is and how wonderfully wrote his characters. So Albus cares so much for his students, and he trusts them a lot more than some of the other wizards. So he trusted Harry and Hermione so much to go back in time, risk everything to save Buckbeak and also to save Sirius Black. And I think Albus Dumbledore knew all along that he was going to have this done. There was a load of foreshadowing that J.K. Rowling used, which was done so perfectly that I didn't even realize what was happening until it happened. And then looking back at it, there were so many things that pointed to this was going to happen and this was going to happen. And it was just all beautifully put together in the end. I think Sirius Black symbolizes that media is easily false. And a lot of times they're mistaken on the truth. I also think that Professor Lupin, the werewolf, shows that you should never judge a book by its cover. Because even though he was a werewolf, he's not as nasty as the rat in Peter Pettigrew. He's just trying to help everybody, and just because he's a werewolf makes him a bad person in a lot of people's eyes, which is horrible. I think this book in Harry Potter relates to Still I Rise by Maya Angelou, which was personally my favorite poem. She started it off by saying, "You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise." This reminds me of Sirius Black because just like Maya Angelou, he was wrote in the paper as being a bad person, but still, he rose and he became the good guy. Now, Harry Potter is definitely one of the most unique series ever, and that goes a lot of credit to making a whole new world. And it's very easy to imagine too, because all the characters are very believable, even though they're wizards, which is kind of a weird thing, but it's also like, wow, that'd be cool if there were wizards and you could go to Hogwarts. So yeah, I really enjoyed reading this book, and I hope you enjoyed listening to my presentation. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.